Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
To start with, please tell us your thoughts surrounding this International Jazz Day event.
Okay. Well, actually, this year is a good day to ask me that because, whenever I heard Herbie talk about it, it all sounded very cool and like very profound and deep and everything. And I guess, no, I know I believe what he said and agreed with the basic philosophy. But this year, through Mika Shino, who does a lot of the outreach to different countries, she shared with me some of the letters, some of the correspondence between individuals that she contacted in countries, because, all countries participate. So she shared with me some correspondence with a gentleman from the Central African Republic, that right now all the embassies are closed and they hear gunshots outside of the school where he works. So his testimony about what this day means for him is what brought it into focus for me as a really tangible meaning, because I think before I saw those correspondence, I agreed with the philosophy, like it all sounded good, but when I saw the correspondence from this gentleman who's explaining, for him, just being contacted in the midst of the conflict for a purpose that doesn't have to do with a sob story or with I want to get a photo, I want to hear about what your suffering is like. He said for him, just to know that he wasn't forgotten, and it was a cultural outreach, and it was a testimony that the world hasn't forgotten. We need art and culture as much as we need food and shelter. To me, that really put it all in perspective, that it really is about connecting with one another at the most basic level of the human necessity to express ourselves truthfully and beautifully and make beauty out of nothing. So it's a very profound, the significance of the day is very profound, and it really came into focus for me. I know I sort of talk in circles, but it came to focus for me this year for the first time. Yeah.
Working on this historical event, this big initiative, together with these amazing jazz artists like Herbie Hancock and many others. What does it feel like?
Wow. It's the best feeling. I mean, just to be called to be a part of this is really, it's huge. It's such a magical, and it's an honor. First of all, I feel like, wow, I'm important enough to be here, and secondly, just observing how these people I admire so much behave. That always means a lot to me, because I love their music, and then observing how they interact and just carry themselves and communicate with other musicians is very inspiring, because Herbie and Wayne are two people who live by their philosophy. They're not just talking. You see in every interaction, every word they speak, every greeting, every note, they are living their philosophy. And it's encouraging for me, because I really believe that art can help people, genuinely. I think it can be tangible. And when I look at Herbie and what he's created with this, and the evidence of that correspondence, like I mentioned earlier, it's a reminder that, yes, when you keep applying yourself and ask tough questions and look for creative solutions, you really can use high-level expression. You can use art and the truth of our existences, of our lives, expressed through beauty, through art, to help people. And I think that's what we're here to do. It seems like that. So I feel very inspired seeing them as sorry, I keep putting my hand in front of the face, but seeing them as the example of that manifest is just so inspiring. It's like, we got to keep going,
Yes, exactly. What role would you like to play in building peace and building dialogue between different cultures, different people, different people. Yes.
Well, I am figuring that out. I mean, I'm experimenting with a lot of different things. You know, right now, something that I'm working on, that I'm engaged in, is the mission to close Guantanamo, to close the center where indefinite illegal detention has been happening for 13 years in the army base in Cuba. Now I'm just a musician, but last year we did a music video and we reached out to other artists who are also really well known, and through that process we were able to create a big impact on a bill that was voted on. So I know it's like a lot of little pieces laid out around the whole landscape of an issue, but that was a really powerful example of how artists getting together and putting their voice. We wrote a song about it, we created a video about it. So it's all very symbolic, you know. We're not literally going there and, you know, getting these men a fair trial, or the men who are innocent who've been cleared to leave, getting them back home with their families. It's very complicated. But by these artists getting together and making a piece of art to talk about it and make a safe place for the American public to look at the problem, it did help build momentum to move toward the ultimate solution. And I think artists can do a lot with that, using art as a symbolism, because some issues are so scary to talk about because they're problematic, and sometimes we deal with guilt. We don't want to feel like we're guilty for other people's suffering. And I think through art, it's a safe place where we can reflect on our actions, and sometimes be inspired to grow beyond our small-minded solutions, and really try to reach out on behalf of another human being. I think art can create that safe space to have a dialogue, and I've literally seen the tangible results in this issue, and hope that we'll keep moving it forward. And that's just the beginning, you know.